Hey, pro organizers, it's Melissa, and I am back with part two of my conversation with my organizing besties here in the Twin Cities, Missi, Cori, and Kielyn. In this episode, we are talking about a lot of things that I think organizers as a whole, including all four of us, struggle with, which is the idea of fear and, doing things scared in our business and all sorts of other things. We're also talking about just being really, really authentic in how you come across to your potential clients and all sorts of other stuff, including how we handle big mistakes that we make. Because, yes, we make mistakes too. All right, this is part two, and stay tuned for more content this week from Pro Organizer Studio. Keelan, tell me a little bit about when you think about the idea of fear in business. Do you operate from a place of fear or do you operate from like a it'll just be fine?
I started in a place of fear. When I started my business 7 years ago, I was scared shitless, and I remember calling my business coach, like, every other month, and I was like, "What am I gonna do? I don't actually have another client coming. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is probably over, blah, 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 blah," and he was like, "You gotta stop. You cannot think that way because you have to trust that the universe is going to work itself out, and you're getting what you need." And so then I met my friend Anne in Des Moines, Happy Healthy Home Des Moines, and she told me I had a cancellation or something. It was really early on, and she was like, "I've been told every cancellation is a gift. Take that day and do with it what you need to do. Enjoy that time. It's going to always be a good thing." And so since then, I feel like I've been making a lot of progress in just understanding that things do tend to work themselves out. And when it's been slower, it's usually because there's a personal need that I have for either rest and recovery, or my family needs something, or my kid gets sick. It just always tends to work itself out. And so I think that is my general response now is, okay, it's a little slower right now. It's fine. I'll enjoy the time. I'll be busier in a little bit and I'll be glad for it. So
Yeah.
that helps.
I love cancellations. And
They're quite nice.
if all three of you would have told me that you couldn't do the podcast today, I'd be like, that's fine. I'm gonna sit on the couch under a blanket. Like cancellation. All joking aside, though, I one of the things that a lot of people bring is, well, I need a policy for this, and I need a cancellation
Mhm.
policy, and I needed this policy, and I needed this policy. And I'm not, by the way, saying that you should never have a policy in your business. They are important, especially the bigger that you get and the more people you're serving. But I do think that there are some things sometimes that you feel obligated. Well, everybody else seems to have a cancellation policy, so I need it too. What I have personally found in my organizing businesses, if someone cancels, I am thrilled because I need that time.
Mhm.
I, like you said, and then go use it wisely, right? And
Right.
wisely can be there's a large definition of what is wise. It could be nap
Mhm.
time. It could be ever. I think that's really important. So Corey, I know that you do not operate from fear, but what do you see?
No, I do. I'm
Oh,
like,
interesting.
I not like fear as in, so my favorite quote is feel the fear and do it anyways. Because if it freaks you out, it's probably for the best in one way or another. Maybe it is going to be terrible and you'll learn then too, right? I
Yeah.
think the other thing people forget is that we're actually human beings and
Mhm.
human beings make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And the beauty about being a human being is that even if you make a mistake, there are second chances, there are chances to learn, grow, make a different choice next time. You
Really.
can learn and you can make a better choice. And that's what I tell myself. So, like, I get very scared when I'm pursuing like the professional athletes. I love it, but it's also very scary. And even when you land one of these huge projects, it's a lot and it's high pressure
Mhm.
and everyone has to perform at their best. It's like organizing, but on steroids, right? And everyone knows it, but you got to feel the fear and you just got to commit and do it anyway. And then
Yeah.
that's where the fun really happens for me and my team, I think, too. So I am afraid a lot. I also have a team that I feel obligated to make sure they have hours. And that can be scary because most of the time leads come in because we've got good SEO because we followed the things that Melissa tells us to do. Those are
Yeah.
checked off the list, right? We know that's happening in the background. That's great. So that's where your new leads are coming in. How are we nurturing the people we're currently working with? How can we get them to rebook? How can we make them schedule more, longer, better sessions? But
Sure.
basically, There's things you can control, there's things you can't control. And most of the time, I do worry a bit about keeping all of my organizers busy. And there are slow times and there are busy times. And of course, like if I had an extremely robust business setup, I would not have slow times and I had things to do in the downtime. But I'm just going to be honest and be like, yeah, sometimes it's just really slow.
Yeah.
We just have to do our best with what we have and the tools we have. Luckily, we have lots of good tools with Pro Organizer Studio and Inspired Organizer on the business side. Set up your systems. That's all you can do. That's what's in your control.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the rest of
Well,
it's scary, to be honest.
No, it definitely is. But one thing that I want to tag on to that you said that I think is really important, and there was a coaching session that we did in our group, and someone was talking about like how the news, which by the way, I don't care for the news isn't great right now, right? But like there's not a whole lot where you're like, boy, that's a warm, fuzzy story. There's a lot of really dark stuff happening, right? And this person said, I'm just too upset by all the things. I can't. She had things going on in her personal life, things going on in the news, and she goes, I literally can't do anything in my business because I'm so preoccupied with all these other things. And as we were talking about the affirmations and manifesting, like when we say we're putting those good things out, you can also really internalize a lot of bad things, and that can sabotage any progress. Like I like to think about, yeah, there are things that I can control in my backyard. That's all that I have control over. I do not have control over things that are happening on a global scale, but I can control how I go into every day. I can control what I'm doing. I can say I'm not going to let the following 25 things stop all my forward progress. I think that's where fear can get you into a bad spot, is if it halts all forward progress. That can be on a micro level too. I'm afraid of blogging, so I'm never going to write a blog. No, I just want you to figure out how to blog. I want you to say, I don't like this. I'm afraid of it, whatever the phrase is, or I don't like networking. Okay. Why don't you like networking? I'm an introvert. Okay, cool. Let's find you something. There are ways around all the things we are afraid of. But
And
like
a little
that,
dose of it,
Yeah.
dose of it's okay, right? These are just things that you have to do. If I had a corporate job, I guarantee you my boss would give me a whole much longer list of things I hate doing. At least when I work for myself or we're working for ourselves, like you are in control of that list and you can dabble a little bit of fear, a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of, but you just do a little bit of it, right? And each little bit adds up. If you hated SEO, but you just did a little bit of the course, right? Okay, I just did a little on my Google business profile. Then I did a little on my website. And then I did a little here. All of those things like multiply and exponentially help you, even if you hate it. And you're scared. If I put my blog out there, what are people going to think of my words? Well, no one's reading your blog, but SEO is going to find those words and you're going to get 15 new clients this month. So you got to suck it up and be a little bit afraid to like
eat your vegetables.
Right. And that's stinky, but it's part of it.
Eat your work broccoli. That's what you need to do.
Or find somebody on your team or VI that can do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the thing that kind of brought us here originally, the thing that's keeping us here is friendship and ADHD. But the thing that brought us here is that idea of I have to ask everyone's opinion about this thing before I do it versus trusting your gut. And I do think that's it's a unique part of entrepreneurship because you're like, oh my gosh, well, what if I am the only one who makes the decision? And sometimes that is scary. What if I make a bet? But the thing that I come back to in organizing, I don't know if you guys agree with this or not. There aren't a whole lot of mistakes you can make that are like irreversible. I don't think.
Just a few, and I think we've all made them.
Yeah. But like truly, do you have something that you would define as, boy, that was a big mistake? Not to put you on the spot, but.
No, yeah, I will. A client saying, yes, that can be donated, and then you donate it, and then they call you the next day and are like, where's that thing? And I'm like, that thing that you said to donate, that thing? Well, it's been donated. What? No, I didn't want that donated. And so then you run to the donation store and you talk to all the staff and it's gone. And then and you don't believe it's truly gone until you talk to the cashier that said, oh yeah, I remember selling that. It didn't last long. And I'm like, no. So then you maybe look on eBay, see if you can find it. offer to buy it back for the client. They say no. And so then you just offer them some money anyway. They say no. And then you just send it to them anyway, because that is the only thing that you can do to try to make it right, because you have made a mistake.
Did I tell you about how I sent a client's entire wardrobe to the storage unit instead of her house?
No.
Early on, we are doing a move and unpacking. She was moving into her daughter's for just a while. And then the house was getting built. So it was complicated because it was the stuff that was going to the daughter's, stuff that was going to the storage. And I was in a lot of different places trying to direct the movers and everything. And at one point, somehow the clothes ended up in the storage unit truck. And she texted me that night, "Hey, so where's my clothes? I don't have any clothes." And I was like, "Oh no." And I said, "I will solve that problem for you." And the next day, she went to the closing for the house in a swimsuit cover up.
Oh,
And
I do remember the
yes,
swimsuit cover up.
yes. And that was at like 8 a.m. or something. And then by 9 a.m., I had gone to the storage unit, got a little step stool, climbed myself to the top of it, retrieved the bags, and brought them to her house. But it was like, I felt like I was going to puke when I got the first text. And then I just laughed for a solid hour because it's just the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I apologized. We laughed about it. And I was like, I'll never make that mistake again.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Right.
Thought it was funny.
But we have a lot of people, I see this comment a lot of someone will describe a terrible situation where you're just like, oh, just run away from that client. You do not need this in your life. And then inevitably the last sentence will be, but I don't want to get a bad review. So I might stay with them because, and I just think that's another example of the reason we're talking about, we've all made huge, varying degrees of mess ups from small to huge. And if you are operating from that worry about a theoretical thing that might happen, but probably won't, but it might, so I need to do that, that can send you in a whole other tailspin.
Yeah.
Totally.
Two things with that. First, if you get anything other than a 5-star review on Google, it actually verifies your profile
Yeah.
and makes your profile stronger because
Yeah.
it makes you authentic.
Yeah.
That's my
0.9 is better than a 5.0.
Dang it. Correct. So if you do get a negative review, it's actually not a terrible thing. And I've heard that from multiple bang up SEO places. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. Second thing, we work with disorganized people who, to just get them to leave you a review.
Very challenging.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say the odds that they're actually going to leave you a review
Very small.
is very small. And you can always respond to it. And then it's going to beef up your SEO and your Google profile.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I also get nobody wants a bad review. And
I get it, but you're absolutely right.
I'm gonna agree with you. Like if someone does leave a review, it gives you an opportunity to respond and for people to understand you more. Because people are gonna read the bad review, but they're
Yes.
also gonna read your response to it.
Totally.
And I have done that a million times from everything from a restaurant to a hotel to varying different things around the Twin Cities to see how does the owner reply. And there are some owners that get really defensive, and I'm like, they probably means that there's a lot of truth to what that person said. But there's a lot that can be said for just your integrity alone in how you choose to reply.
Yeah.
Totally.
I've told this story before, but it's buried 700 podcasts ago. I have done marketing for a non-organizing client for many years, and she got a bad review one day. She has a physical store, and she got a bad review one day, and she was like, I'm gonna respond and I'm gonna do. She was really mad, which, by the way, it was legit reason to be mad, but I was like, nope. You're going to do nothing of the sort. First of all, we're just going to let this sit for a day. We're just going to let it sit. We're going to let tempers calm down. And then here's how we're going to respond. And I wrote her a very professional, very polite, but direct response. And she had someone come in a week later and she told me, I'm really glad that you stopped me from writing that reply, because she had a guy that came in and said the reason he came in is because of how me, replied to that negative review. Like he said, oh, that was really classy. Literally a 1-star review made him come into her store. And so I know that it's a scary thing, but also it's almost never going to happen. Like, we
Mhm.
have 1,000 people in Inspired Organizer, and I can only think of one time in the last year that some year or 2 that someone has said, "I got a bad review. What do I do about it?" It
Mhm.
doesn't happen. So you're afraid of a mythical thing, basically. But that
Yeah.
fear is real, and I do understand it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side tangent from that. For authenticity and like doing what you think is correct. Okay, another thing Missy and I were saying, we're like, sometimes we listen to what Melissa says, but other times we listen to our gut and
yeah.
just do whatever we want. Not that, like Melissa, you give amazing advice and it's always spot on, but sometimes that doesn't sit right or doesn't feel right with somebody.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Mhm.
Then you got to listen to your gut and you got to listen to what feels right for you because we're all in
Absolutely.
different situations. And that's
Mhm.
where it's even if you saw Melissa or Cabri or anybody else respond one way to one post in Inspired Organizer, that might not feel right for you and you
Yeah.
might need to do it a different way. And I'm just saying that's okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't
I
feel
don't have all
bad
the
about
answers.
that.
No, I have 1% of the answers, and I don't know how anybody is running their business, their life, what their ethics are, what their business looks like, what
Right.
their bank accounts look. I don't know any of those things. I'm just saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
here's the suggestion," and you don't have to take it. We had one the other day in the group that the AI comes up a lot, and someone was asking, like, an ethical question with
Yeah.
regards to AI
Saw that.
about, like,
Yep.
editing a
Mhm.
photo,
Yep.
and what I liked about that is I was like, I had a pretty strong opinion about it, as I usually do. And I put it out there, but I was like, "That's me. You can do
Yeah.
whatever
Mhm.
you want." And then we had people that were going back and forth on the pros and cons of this particular issue, but none of us have all the answers.
Right.
I don't care if you have we have people in our group that are making close to $1 million a year revenue in their business. They don't have all the answers either. They might not have a different set of answers than the person making $10,000 a year in their business.
Mhm.
So
And
you
that's
need to go with your gut.
I think we were talking about too. Look at the data, right? Like the data for your company. What does that data look like? And then make your next decision. It could
Yeah.
be very different. Even though Kielyn and Missy and I all have teams in Minnesota, you would think, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, they all must be so similar. I guarantee you the data
Mhm.
is all over
Yeah.
the board if
Yes.
you were to line it up, right? And so you need to
Totally.
look at your situation, look at what does the data say to you?
Yep.
And how do you want to respond as a business owner?
Yeah.
Right. And everybody's personality is different and their ideal client is different
Right.
and your team is different and all of that is different. And so when we're looking for clients, really what we're hoping for is the client that will pick the best person that will work well with them. And it's like that whole lid for every pot thing. So
Yeah.
I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but everybody has their person that's, yes, you are exactly what I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think one thing that a lot of people, not that I keep like blabbing on, but one thing that I think business owners, especially professional organizers, need to think about is being more themselves, be
Yes.
more of
Thank
you.
you.
The client wants you or your
Mhm.
team, but they don't want me. They don't want Melissa. They don't want the
Mhm.
rest of it. Like they want you. What makes you excited? What makes you passionate? What makes you, why did you get into this? And show that to people. Show them that on your social media. Show them that on your stories. Missy does an amazing job of showing us who she is on her stories. And like her clients vibe with that and they respond to that and they keep in touch that way. And so, like, just be more of you.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
listen to yourself and what do you need? And if you have to look at data, of course, look at data too, but nobody needs more of the $1 million organizer. That might look really great in your eyes, but that might not be you.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
okay.
I could talk about this topic for 1,000 hours because I believe it so deeply. The one that always hits me is so Marie Kondo. When I was in Japan and Marie comes out, and I have been in the room with her a few times, which I'm very grateful for, but she is the most calm, quiet, just calming, wonderful presence, right? She walks in the room, people that just have the X factor of you can't explain
Mhm.
it, you know it, right? And she just brings this air of serenity and tranquility. And I was like laughing to myself because I'm like, I couldn't be more opposite of that. If I tried to be Marie, it'd be the word, like it'd be so fake. And it's because it is not who I am and how, but she also couldn't be me. Right? She is not going to get up in front of a group and try to make them laugh and just go off the cuff. That we could not be more different, right? But being authentically who you are connects you to people. And if you think it doesn't, like if you say, oh, I need to dial down this part of myself because maybe that such and such client won't like it, they're not going to be a good client for you because when you get there, you're going to be miserable. Like just freaking be yourself. If there's something you're really into, talk about it, even if it's weird. Because when you are yourself, you can be so relatable. I think that people go, oh, I see myself in you.
Kielyn with dog of the
I
Yes.
love the dogs.
Kielyn
Kielyn
loves
loves
dogs. Her
dogs.
clients love
So much.
dogs. And that's like
Yes.
such a huge bonding.
I'm
moment.
always like, okay, if you're going to send me some photos, can you also send me photos of the dogs, please?
Yes.
And we can bond over our love of dogs.
The way.
Absolutely.
Here's one thing I will tell you that you should fake if you don't. If you don't like animals, you better pretend like you do.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
I'm telling you, people love their animals. And if you
Yes.
go in, like the line that I always use with people is when they'll say, oh, I have a dog. Do you mind dogs? And I go, if I minded dogs, I wouldn't be a professional organizer.
Right.
But Keelan, like genuinely, that is a genuine love of yours.
Yes. And I'm always, they go, well, do you want me to put them away? And I'm like, I really prefer you don't. Thank
Yeah,
you.
if you do put
Please,
them away,
no.
I'm leaving.
I'm actually going to be a little bummed out. So please don't. With the exception of ankle biter dogs that like come around and bite your ankles every time you try and move. I've had that a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, but usually, yeah, I do love the dogs.
I want to talk about the authenticity piece that Cori was touching on too, of just being who you are. I think people are getting more and more used to having AI summarize things for them that they don't that they've not asked for, right? Our emails are summarized, our text messages are summarized, and I feel like it is more important now to have that human connection. I know a lot of organizers who are using AI to write their newsletters. That's fine, whatever. And people can tell when you don't. Like the feedback that we get about, oh my gosh, I felt like you were talking directly to me, or whatever it is, they can sense that when you're putting your whole self into whatever it is.
Yeah, I could not agree with that more. And especially, so Missi writes really good newsletters. There are different things that we're all good at. Missy's really good at writing newsletters to her organizing audience. And the reason is, and we started talking about it before we hit record, but what was your email title?
So the highest open rate I ever received on a newsletter was one entitled, I wasn't actually dead. And you know how you can do like the subheading or whatever, despite how it looked.
Right. Okay. So I want to just parse that for 1 second, because when you think about that, okay, that's a bold statement, right? And you put it in an email subject and sent it to several hundred people, right? And I think there are a lot of organizers who would say, no, I have to have an exceedingly professional organize your kitchen in 10 minutes or what. Everybody has this perception of the right and professional and good thing to do. And I'm telling you, it's boring. I'm just going to say people aren't going to be interested in it. It's not going to grab their attention in a mailbox. And like sometimes do the unbuttoned up thing, do the unprofessional thing, do the thing, because that's what people are looking for. They really are.
I was really hoping you were going to break into a little bit of Pussycat Dolls, loosen up your buttons.
I know all the words.
And I just want to be fair to those folks too, because there are some buttoned up type A people that attract other buttoned up type A people.
100%. Yes.
So if that's who you are, still be who you are and know that's going to attract the same kind of people as you, which is awesome. Because you probably feel really comfortable working with people like you.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
I think about, there's one client in particular I could think about that I'm just like, I could not be less of her cup of tea. She's all business. She does not want to, and I just go, I think there's maybe another organizer that she would vibe with a lot better than me because I'm a little bit more, oh my gosh, let me see these new Legos that your kids got or whatever. She's not that person, right? She does not enjoy that. And so, yeah, you should be exactly who you are in the same way that like if you are extremely buttoned up and you have a very specific clientele and a specific vibe you're going for, don't try to be like me. Don't send an email that says I almost died. Like whatever, just do the thing that makes sense to you. And you're exactly right. You'll attract the right people. One of the things that we talked about, Cori, you said at the beginning before we started, hey, you can just do the thing. Like you can make changes and you can pivot in your business and you can just do the thing. Can we talk about that a little bit?
This kind of goes back to like my grand vision of what I want and what I think is right at the moment in the company, right? And So I like to prioritize things because I also have ADHD and it's really hard for me to focus on a million things. So I write my priorities down. I write them down every week. And soon as I have enough caffeine in my body, I also know that I can operate a little bit better in the morning. I'm not a night owl. I'm a morning person. I'm a weirdo. I give myself, I got like a good hour of productivity. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how everyone's productive for 8 hours a day because I'm not. Like,
Really
I've
hard.
got a good hour and then it's brain fuzz from there on out. So I try to do my most meaningful work in the morning and I do time block and I do the things that I don't want to do, but I have to do them. I take small steps. Okay, I'm just looking at it right now. We just had a planning for the year, a fiscal meeting, right? So I shared with my two lead organizers who are running different parts of the Twin Cities. Here's our financial goals for this year. Here's how we break it down by quarter. Here's how much we want to bring in. Here's how many leads we need, how many sold projects, blah, blah, blah. And so one of the things on there, one of the easiest ways to improve your profit is to decrease your expenses. Well, guess who doesn't like getting on the phone and decreasing all of the expenses, like calling Verizon and seeing.
Worst.
I hate all of that. But guess what? It's necessary for us to hit the goals we want to hit. So on Tuesdays, I have blocked out work on expenses. Okay. So that means this Tuesday, I will spend an hour plugging away through that. And then I'm just going to let it go. But that's a huge step, right? Because if I did nothing and just put it off, if I do one or two things, that's way better than if I were to just put it off. And it affects everybody in the company, not just me. It affects my lead organizers because we do like a profit sharing model, right? So it's their incentive to have the most profits at the end of the year because it gets divided amongst them. So it's not just me anymore. It affects everybody. So
Yeah.
I would say break it down into really small, manageable pieces. There are also things that I need to check on with the website, SEO. Do I love doing that? Nope, but it's on the list and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And is it important? Yes.
Yeah. The other thing I have on my list every week, by the end of the week, I have to do one scary thing. And
Oh.
I do one scary thing a week. And most of the time I'm a very big procrastinator. It happens on Friday at 3:30 because I
Okay.
waited until the last possible minute to do it. And it's generally asking or starting a conversation with somebody that I want to work with, that I see a good future for us, maybe a good marketing opportunity or collaboration. And I did that this week and I knocked a huge one out of the park. And I'm so excited to share when we finally get to that point.
That's awesome.
But every week I do one scary thing. And Missy's not afraid of anything, but I am. I have a lot of fears and I write them down and I tackle them. One a week.
But by the way, that scary thing could literally just be, I have to call Verizon.
True.
Like, it doesn't have to be like the biggest, scariest thing.
No.
I'm going to go ask the governor of my
Oprah.
state to organize his house.
Right.
It could just be, boy, I hate calling my insurance company, but I'm going to do it. Or
Yeah.
I am going to, here's a scary thing. I'm going to open up my business checking account and check and see what are things that I am spending money on that I might forget that I'm spending money on. Or I am going to do some of that math. So the math that you're talking about, I know is something that I do not enjoy doing, where you go, okay, I want to make this much. How do I break it down? How many consults a week? How many blah, 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 whatever. Like that can be your scary thing too. It's whatever you are like, not going to worry about it. I love the do one scary thing.
Some people work well at night. Like if you're a night person, flip it in the morning, wait until you get your little excitement hour and then
Yeah,
do it then.
on it.
Well, I was just going to add because I think saying I'm not afraid of anything is a little too broad of a stroke here. I am a really good procrastinator at really small, important things. Like Melissa alluded to it earlier, and I can't remember if we had already hit record or not yet, but sometimes I will forget to invoice someone for 6 weeks. So that's like a,
Me too. I do too.
it's an important thing. And I'll even know that it's important. And I had that this past week for 4 days. I was like, I need to send the invoices. And they were prepped and almost ready to go. And I just couldn't like cross that finish line and insert reasons here. I don't know if you're going to do an intro at the beginning of we're all living in the Twin Cities right now in January 2026. So
Mhm.
it's affecting us and our clients. And yeah, anyways, there's reasons that things are harder to do right now in general. And that also happens all throughout the year. So just to, I don't know, maybe a little reminder to cut ourselves some slack. I think
Yeah.
I'm always gentler on everybody else but myself.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
anyways.
I think there's a difference between I need to push myself all the time. This goes back to when Keelan and I talked about, like, why can't we relax? Why can't we rest? Like, why do I feel guilty when I'm just watching a TV show and not doing 12 other things? And I think that we have this pressure on ourselves that, like, I'm supposed to be blah, blah, blah. Maybe the most important thing you need to be doing at that moment is just saying, I need a hot second of peace. And that invoice can sit till tomorrow. Like 6
Mhm.
weeks in one day is like 6 weeks in one day, it's still gonna live, or 4 days plus 1 day, it's all gonna be okay. Thanks for listening today, and stay tuned. I'm gonna be back with lots of stuff this week, including something brand new we have, which is a Teams program. If you are a team builder, if you currently have a team, if you want a team, so many good things coming for team leaders and business owners. So stay tuned for that in a couple of days. If you have anything you need in the meantime, reach out to me. Hello@proorganizerstudio.com. Talk to you soon, organizers.